Thanks for checking out the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to see me play your deck, hang out with me in the amazing BoshNRoll community in Discord, access to my lists and sideboard guides before tournaments, book an individual coaching session, or just generally want to support what's going on here, check out the Patreon and YouTube membership options. For the finest Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, use code BoshNRoll for 10% off your order at coalesceapparel.shop. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. If you want to play what I'm playing, use my affiliate link to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com and play any deck anytime on Magic Online with a cardhoarder.com loan account. Thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, at the request of Patreon subscriber Vlandrick, I am playing Yorion in Legacy. Yorion was a deck that emerged right at the tail end of Yorion's legality in Modern. It might have been the deck that pushed the Yorion ban over the finish line. Correlation does not equal causation, but this happened a couple weeks before Yorion was banned. Who knows what was going on in the halls of Renton. What's going on with this deck is 4-color Omnath control, which is a popular deck in Modern, and all of the pitch elementals, Solitude, Endurance, Fury, etc., have shown that they're legacy playable. Omnath pitches to all of them to keep you alive, and if you don't need to pitch them to keep you alive, Omnath arrives at some point and just becomes a crazy engine, and then you're just casting those cards instead. Within this 4-color control deck lies a Cascade, Crashing Footfalls Rhino deck. And the cool thing about this that people figured out is that to become a Yorion deck, you have to increase the size of your deck by 1/3, and by adding 4 Ardent Pleas to your Violent Outburst and Shardless Agent, you've increased your Cascade enablers by a half. So even though your deck is larger, you're more likely to have a 3-drop Cascade spell, and you're less likely to draw a Crashing Footfalls before you do that. It's a fun little math problem out there for the deck builders. I played this deck in Modern on the channel. I put up a 5-0 on my first try, and that inspired Vlandrick to start working on this Legacy version. And frankly, it looks very similar. The big differences are we have dual lands instead of shock lands, and we have Force of Will, which is not a card that is legal in Modern, obviously. Outside of Force and actual dual lands, this is a Modern legal deck, and I think that's okay, because this deck was really good, and it's doing a powerful thing. The only change that I've made to the deck since Vlandrick sent it to me is that it was reported that the initiative was a really tough matchup, because if they get the initiative on turn 1, this isn't a Turbo Rhinos deck. We can't play Crashing Footfalls any faster than turn 3. We could play Spirit Guides. Those are legal in Legacy that are not legal in Modern. I've played Turbo Rhinos on the channel before, but this is not meant to be that. This is meant to be a control deck with this value engine tucked into it. And the only answer in the deck to a turn 1 initiative creature was the 4 Force of Wills. But I added 3 Subtlety to the deck as well. It fits the elemental pitch theme. It functions as a pitch counter when you need it to. And it beats Cavern of Souls because it doesn't counter a spell. It puts the spell on the top or bottom of its owner's library. To make room, I cut 2 main deck Teferi Time Ravelers and 1 of the Fire Ices. That's where these 3 subtleties came from. There's still 2 Teferis in the sideboard if we need those, but I figured Subtlety would be a lot better in Initiative's metagame. We've got a bunch of cheeky ways to interact for less than 3 mana in our deck that can only cascade into Crashing Footfalls. Fire Ice counts as 4 when you flip past it in your deck. Brazen Borrower is a 3, but you can bounce something for 2. Touch the Spirit Realms a 3, you can flicker for 2. And Leyline Binding, of course. The card that keep Delver of Secrets and Expressive Iteration legal, apparently. This is a 1-mana removal spell, and with our fetch lands, we have the Triomes and dual land combinations. It's very easy to cast this on turn 2 for 1 mana. And that's the deck. It is a grindy control deck. Don't let the Cascade spell fool you. This isn't really a tempo deck the way the Rug Cascade decks are in Modern, but it has that gas pedal when it's there and you want to start applying pressure. Let's go do this thing. This is Legacy Yorion. I'm on the play in round number 1. I've revealed my companion, and this hand needs a land, but I'm going to keep it. It interacts with both Subtlety or Endurance if necessary, and Brazen Borrow if we get to turn 2. Is there an Indatha Triome in this deck? There is. Okay, Indatha Triome plus Steam Vents, Volcanic Island. See, I'm in that modern brain. Indatha plus Volcanic gets us all 5 land types. And I'm not going to suspend the Crashing Footfalls until I have some information about the matchup. It might be better as a card to pitch to Endurance. Concerns I have in this deck include Wasteland at all times. But there are enough basics that you can play the Rhino game without that. Opponent's on a multi-6. The only domain spell in this deck, though, is the Leyline Binding. So I don't need to work that hard on getting domain. I could just leave this fetch uncracked. It's not like a deck with Territorial Kavu or whatever where that's really important to get to. Okay, I think I want to leave up Brazen Borrower here. Iganjo Go is really suspicious. If I miss this land drop, I'll be very disappointed. Once Upon a Time. This is the initiative deck. Once Upon a Time and Iganjo. I think there's only one deck that does this. Unless Maverick has adopted Iganjo somehow, but I don't think that's the case. Seasoned Dungeoneer revealed. Confirmed. Initiative. Cavern of Souls. Naming Human. Alright, deck. Now's the time. Give me this land. Let me take the initiative. Let me put some rhinos into play. Land, please. Always had it. Too easy. Okay, so I can Subtlety my opponent's play this turn, and then jam some rhinos if they don't make a play, or even if they do. I could also just let them have the initiative, make rhinos, Brazen Borrow, the Dungeoneer, take the initiative, and then hold up Subtlety on the backswing. That sounds pretty good. It's a massive blowout if they have double Solitude, though. Cavern. Naming Archon. Ew. Archon of Emeria can't be countered. That's true. But it can be responded to. I need to come up with at least 1 green mana out of this mess. If I can cast Endurance next turn, that would be nice to tangle with the Archon. If I get Savannah and Taiga, or Tropical Island. Yeah, Tropical Island gets me Brazen Borrower. Tropical Island and Savannah look like the ones. Trop and Savannah. And I do have to do this now, because once the Archon's in play, I don't get to cast 2 spells, which is how Cascade works. Blammo. You can have your Archon now. You're out of spells for the turn, I get to bash. Solitude's pretty nice. And we get in for 8. And I can suspend Crashing Footfalls without losing out too much, but if they attack first, Endurance just eats this thing. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. This Footfalls is just not going to be part of the game. Caracas, okay. They're playing Archon. If they interact with my Endurance, then they don't get another spell. And if they don't, then I can hold up Subtlety. Does this deck want Uro? Wow. I just looked at my graveyard with Endurance on the stack, thinking, do I need my graveyard for anything? Are we an Uro deck? That would be a legacy card. That is very exciting. I guess if they touch the Spirit Realm Flicker, they could get another spell, but do I care about that? Or Swords to Plowshares, whatever. Okay, that's their spell for the turn. Okay. Flickering a Rhino still works. Not a spell. It does not come back. There's another stupid Crashing Footfalls. Remember in the deck tech where I said how smart this deck is constructed because it doesn't just do that? Well, here we are. Okay, I could leave up casting Brazen Borrower. Omnath is my pitch to Subtlety. I could also suspend the 2 Crashing Footfalls or just suspend one of them. I guess gotta start this work somewhere. In case this does get grindy, because they are starting to stabilize, which I don't like. Okay, they're casting a human spell. This is the moment of truth. Do I want to interact with this now or try to beat it on the board? If I put it back on top of their deck, I get an attack, and then what? I guess I'm just really worried about Solitude. Even Swords to Plowshares gets me, because they get to tutor and they do have a land drop. Interesting. I'm going to start by petty thefting the Archon. I'm going to get that out of here. That way I'm not spell gated anymore. And subtlety pitching Omnath. Subtlety tech already coming in here in round 1, game 1. Shrugging off a Cavern of Souls. Wish I'd been able to hard cast that one with 1 more land at any point. What are you going to do though? And now I can attack for 4, put them to 4. They bottomed the Dungeoneer. That was just a hard counter. Get it. We have traders. The Chalice on 0 is pretty good against me if they're a Chalice build of this deck. Not every build plays it in the main, somewhere in the board, but assume they have it somewhere. Okay, this is pretty interesting. I could hold up deploying Brazen Bar, or I could put Yorion in my hand for Force of Will when they have Cavern on Archon and Human. Oh, Yorion also pitches to Solitude. I think I'd rather have the creature. Yeah, I'd rather cast Brazen Borrower. Wow, they've had enough. Okay, Subtlety already winning games. They came out really slow from the gates, though, which is probably not where you want to be as that deck. Fury looks pretty good. The Footfalls are interesting because if they are a Chalice build, it can turn off the whole Cascade business. But I want some number of that to still happen because that's how I reasonably pressure a deck. Removal for Chalice in my deck. Spirit Realm is only... Oh, it is artifact or creature. Okay. I thought it was enchantment or creature, but okay. Cool. Spirit Realm isn't out to that. I could force it and I could Leyline Bind it. So I have 10 ways. Oh, I have all these Brazen Borrowers too. I have 14 ways to remove a Chalice. Yeah. Deal. I think I might shave on the package a little bit, all the same. Down 2 Ardent Pleas, down 1 Crashing Footfalls. I just have to make room for Fury somewhere, and I want every other card that's in my deck. Maybe Fire Ice is medium. Fire Ice being blue and red to pitch to all the things that care about that. Oh, Endurance is worse than that. Right, I'm getting a Fire Ice back in. Endurance Tangling in combat is good. Knowing they have Archon in their deck is some shit. I can get a Footfalls back in. I could play a Force of Vigor. I could bring an Ardent Plea back in. Or an Endurance. I'm not playing Teferi. I'm not bringing in 1 Force of Vigor in my 80 card deck with no cantrips. Unless you count Omnath. Is Omnath a cantrip? I guess technically it is. Ardent plays really bad against Thalia and Archon. Endurance is the one that can tangle with an Archon. Alright. Endurance is back in, even though I don't think it's very good. I think it's better than my other options. Okay. Force blue card, Brazen Borrower. Oh, only 1 land. This is a tough one. How many lands are we playing? 33. Yeah, that's a responsible number. I could just try to survive the early beats. There are 30 lands in my deck and 73 cards. There are 32 lands in my deck and 73 cards, so slightly worse than half my deck is a land right now. I'm on the draw. Yeah, this actually isn't very good. I'm going to mulligan it. Okay, Rockrin plus Forest is a turn 2 Leyline Binding. I can't interact with the initiative. Alright, I'm going to keep this hand though. Put Beseiju on the bottom. Don't know how hard you can chase perfect 4s and 5s in a deck like this one. Just hope my opponent turtles up with and whatever. Once upon a time, they went with Archon of Emeria off the Once Upon a Time. Hope to see it right now. And not an initiative creature. Tilt! Alright, we're probably dead. Just like that, folks. Okay, they're in the initiative. Get a Plains. But they did lead on City of Traders. That won't be cheap. Get that Plains into play. Palace on 0. We were prepared for that possibility. This is a reasonable opening hand. I'm going to play Rockrin Triome and pass the turn. I'm probably going to Solitude pitching Solitude if they go into Forge. They are going into Forge. Solitude pitching Solitude. Let's take the pressure off for now. They went down the damage path instead of the card selection path. Hope I can punish this. Chalice on 0 isn't free. They are a Lotus Petal Chrome Mox deck. They blanked some percentage of their own cards with this Chalice. And I'm ready to answer Archon of Emeria. There it is. I can Leyline Bind that. Misty Rainforest is a tough beat. Oh, it won't be a tough beat once the Archon's gone. Never mind, it's fine. I'm actually just going to do this right now. Get rid of this thing before they can flicker it with Touch the Spirit Realm in response or whatever, and just working towards Omnath before this Undercity goes too crazy. If they want to just miss a land drop and pass, that would be cool. But they zapped in Emeria and pass the turn. I think that's primarily showing Touch the Spirit Realm. I'm going to put Yorion in my hand right now. I'm missing a swamp, but Indatha Triome is the only swamp, and I'm not going to get too crazy about that. Green, red, blue, white. Just want to make sure I don't fetch a dual land that doesn't accidentally not Omnath. Tropical Island gives me double green. I'm already going to have double blue. I'm already going to have double red. Savannah gives me white and double green. Yeah, Savannah works. Pick up this Yorion and send it. Go into the archive here. I might hold off on Omnath, because if they go into the throne and just hit Solitude, Omnath is gone for no value. Oh, Shardless Agent doesn't help because they have the thing. I think I'm going to play Volcanic Island and pass, because if they just grab Solitude, I'm stuck. But next turn, I could Yorion and flicker it. I could Omnath, Yorion, flicker some stuff. They put an Archon in. That hurts. I kinda hope they just go back into the dungeon. Okay, cool. That's what they did. Not that I feel good about this either. But it wasn't a disruptive creature, just a pounder. It was the only choices they had. They hit 3 Cs. Oh, there was a Solitude in the hits. Okay. Glad I didn't play into it. They might just have one anyway, but at least it's not free. And this gives me a chance to draw Subtlety, which I did. Okay. Green, white, etc. Omnath. They go for a Solitude. I'm going to Subtlety it. There it is. Subtlety. Pitch this Shardless Agent that's not helping. Put Solitude on top of your deck. Don't have another one. One's already on the bottom. And Omnath drew a card. Omnath, flicker. I have to get an untapped land here. I have double red for next turn. I think I want Tundra. I'm not sure it matters, but I'm getting Tundra. I get a pile of mana, with which I can cast Yorion. Yorion's going to flicker Omnath. I wish I could flicker Leyline Binding, but the thing I would want to exile is Hexproof. Alright, just Omnath. Just draw another card. It's a solid turn. Solitude is on top of their deck, though. They kept it there. It's a reasonable choice. Going into the Forge, just here to mash. Put me on that 2-turn clock. Yorion flies, but Omnath does all this other shit. It's going to be interesting which one they decide to beat up. Okay, they went for the Omnath. Probably the right call. But that means there's a good chance I'm going to take the initiative. Fetch the Spirit Realm on top. Also a solid card. This deck's full of good ones. Okay, they bin that. Didn't want it. King 9. Went for the plains, killed their city. They could have towards the plowshares here. Endurance, okay. Attack my opponent's life points. I am initiated. I'm also dead next turn anyway, as they just hit me for 9 with their pro creature that I can't currently remove. And not a thing I can do about it. Alright, I'm dead. That was fun for a while. We were losing the entire game, but it was fun for the whole game too. Chalice the Void confirmed. Not surprising, but confirmed. I'm on the play this game. I'm going in with the same deck. On the play, of course, in game 3. Show me a good one. Well, Force of Will, multiple answers to stuff, and a can of Rhinos. Let's do it. Rhinos come in a can if you're new to the channel. Don't ask me why. I couldn't tell you. I think it's a thing I said by accident once, and it just stuck. This is the type of hand that could beat the initiative deck, though. I even lead on the full 5 set with the Volcanic Island and the Indatha Triome. Full domain. Emeria tapped. Good news, everybody. I'm gonna play Arid Mesa. I can get Tundra, which does everything I need it to. And I kind of want to use at least one fetch land before Archon of Emeria shows up. I want to save some fetch lands for Omnath and use others early to get away from Archon. A little bit of a squeeze there. Diverse incentives. Okay, we've got a WPA on the stack. I'm going to force will that. Get it out. Please and thank you. And I'm actually, now that I didn't need to Brazen Borrow, just going to get the other Triome. In Modern, you're incentivized not to fetch your Triomes if you don't need them, because eventually Wrenn and 6 sets up a draw cards loop. But I don't think this game's going to go that long, and we don't get Wrenn and 6. Double whammy on that front. Get out there, big rhinos. One can of rhinos, please. Unfortunately, it's one of the main deck one, or main phase ones, but those are more plentiful than the instant speed one. Now casting an initiative card isn't even necessarily a play you want to make. If you have just Swords to Plowshares and whatever, Solitude to back it up, but this Archon is a little late to the party. Arrived just in time to fuck up my fetch land. I can fetch for a basic next turn, or I could just play this Plateau, which arrives on the same timetable. Alright, I'll play the Plateau. And getting in with my pals. There's a Solitude. I'm okay with one. If they have two here and just go down to 2 cards in hand, it's probably worth doing. Let's hope that doesn't happen. It was smart to wait until after I attacked to do the Solitude, because I do have an Exalted effect. That was good timing. I have high hopes for this Brazen Borrower. I'm not just going to randomly bounce Archon of Emeria. But if they try to get squirrely with White Plume Adventurer here, planning to double block, Brazen Borrower blows it up. Second Archon, okay. Please attack with the first one. If they attack, okay, they didn't attack, which means I'm going to sit on the Brazen Borrower to go for a blowout in combat. Oh wow, that's also something of a blowout. Okay, well, I'm going to attack with my 5/5. If they double block, I can Brazen Borrow one of these Archons, and then they lose the other. But they change their mind. No attacks, no blocks. Not interested in engaging in this game at all. White, blue, red, green. Might as well go for Omnath if we're all just sitting around here. Get to draw a card. This is my spell for the turn. Oh, they did have a second Solitude. They were saving it for a big Daddy. Fair enough. He can't really go nuts with Archons in play anyway. I'll take that 3 for 1 and make my land drop. And pass the turn. Having the double Solitude is scary. I'm glad I could come up with a third threat before they got totally stable. And I've managed to fend off the initiative so far. There is both a mountain and a forest in the deck to get a basic into play that dodges the Archon's effect off this fetch. Solitude is live next turn. Alright, here we go. WPA. The initiative has been introduced to the game. They can tutor up planes, which, if they play and give up on their city, will telegraph Swords to Plowshares to me. Oh, interesting. I assumed the plan was leave back 9 points of toughness and just keep the initiative, but oh, you still have 6 points of toughness. That is correct, because you get the untap. Alrighty then. Another Solitude. I like that. I'm going to attack with my 5/5. They're not blocking. Fair enough. I will take the initiative, which gives me a basic land to play for the turn. What do I want to do with this? I want either island or plains. It's probably plains. Yeah. Opponent's at 6 life. Here's plains. I can Solitude something now. Or I could put Yorion in my hand and bounce an Archon. And then I have pitch cast Solitude next turn. I don't know that I can keep the initiative here. I don't want to waste my spell for the turn cycle by not doing anything. So I have Bounce with Brazen Borrower, Cast with Brazen Borrower available. Or I have Fire Ice and Pitch Cast Solitude. Or Brazen Borrower and Pitch Cast Solitude, pitching the Yorion. I'd also just deploy Solitude on their turn. Try to mess up combat. I can't get all three of these cards out of combat. I can Solitude Archon of Emeria and block White Plume Adventure, or I could Solitude whatever they target with Forge. Okay, I think I just want to go for max value on the Solitude. Just another creature object in play, in addition to messing with combat. 1 mana short of doing the Brazen Borrower on my turn, go to your turn Solitude. You have 4 cards in hand, one of them is the basic planes they tutored for, then didn't play last turn. Oh right, they don't get the Forge because I have the initiative. They have to attack me first. Cool, don't even really need to do anything yet. Touch the Spirit Realm is not a good combat trick here. Swords to Plowshares is fine. Not great. Ace and Brazen Borrower can both clear a blocker next turn. Right, I'll give them a taste of their own medicine with Big Solitude. Take out one of the Archons, and I'm going to block the Adventurer if I get to blocks with this card. We're in there. Trade off with that. Get the initiative. Can you afford to Forge here? I think you have to go into the Lost Well. I'm at 23. Yep, they're in the Lost Well. Lotus Petal is their spell for the turn. Deal. Kinda locked by their own Archon here. And since the coast is clear, I might as well fetch a dual land while the getting's good. I think I want Tropical Island here. Yeah, I don't have double green yet if I draw an Endurance. And blue is relevant to my hand. Makes sense. Violent Outburst. Well, I can't do everything I want to do with that right away. I do have enough mana to Brazen Borrow. Okay. They had the touch. That's fine. I can Brazen Borrow their Archon and then make a can of Rhinos. Okay. I'm just going to pass the turn. All this I can do at instant speed. They get the stash. They get a free Lotus Petal here after spending their turn casting the last one. Feels good. For them, not for me. I'm going to take this hit. It's not that important. Oh, they didn't attack. They remember the Endurance from last game. My hand is all instants. They were probably right not to attack in one way or another. Lotus Petal is your spell for the turn, but once I bounce Archon, those rules won't apply anymore. 2 cards in hand, more Rhinos coming. In the end step, it's go time. Petty Theft your Archon to make sure I leave up green-red, and I did. Get that out, please. They have Archon Plains and 1 mystery card in their hand. Red-green colorless, Violent Outburst. Mana Rhinos, it's both lethal and it's 2 creatures. If they have 1 removal spell, I still get the initiative. And Vlandrick, we beat the initiative. You were worried about it, but we did it. On to the next one. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and every other format you'll see on this channel. They have multiple customizations so you can view your deck how you want. Text view, stacks, grid, custom grouping by type, subtype, color, light mode, dark mode. However you want to see your deck, they can provide it for you. My favorite feature is you can choose your set printing, make the deck look exactly how you want it to. The deck screen features expandable sections that show you what tokens your deck makes, your recent change history to the deck, stats about mana curve and opening hand distribution, mana cost distribution. You can deal out sample hands and even play test the deck. Island Ponder. You know I'm keeping this one. This site has everything. Follow me on Moxfield.com to keep up with decks I'm playing for the channel and what I'm up to in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in round number 2 with a sad 1-lander. I'm going to mulligan this. It's not going anywhere. Here we go. I'm going to keep this 3-lander with Force of Will. I'm going to bottom one of the outbursts. Blooded Strand go. I can get up to a can of Rhinos without ever... Uh-oh. Thoughtseize, huh? Okay, sure. This could be Reanimator, could be something more fair than that. Could be Storm. I expect either the Outburst if they're fair or the Force of Will if they're unfair to hit the graveyard here. If they're reanimator, they might just reanimate my Omnath and then play a fetch land and reanimate a bunch of other stuff. I hope that doesn't happen. Okay. Looking kind of fair to me then. I'm going to fetch the Indatha Triome. Most Thoughtseize decks don't have this land in them other than like Pox. They got a Marsh Flats. What's the follow-up? Oh no. Dark Confidant. Oh. I don't want to force a will that and lose my Omnath. I don't really want to play against it either. Okay, it's in. I can Solitude it next turn, bare minimum. I'm not going to fetch till after I draw. Here we go. I guess I'll play the Otawara and fetch for some land here. Oh, I want to round out the 5 with the Volcanic Island. Then I can put Yorion in my hand and immediately pitch to Solitude. I don't know if this is right. If this is like slow depths, I just deployed 2 ways to remove Merit Lage, but I'm not really winning a fair game against Dark Confidant in the short term anyway. All right, Daddy coming, unless I get... Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I could just play Ardent Plea and save Omnath. Yeah, if I draw a land next turn... Okay. If I draw a land next turn, I can Omnath with a land drop available. Let's just make a can of Rhinos here and hold up Force of Will. Corrupt Decay, sure. That's a good deal for me. Let's stay Meyer. And they're passing the turn. Tropical Island. I'm going to attack first, see if they want to interact during combat, get in for my 5. And having a fetch land in play already, white, blue, red, green, means that I can gain 4 life if I want to. Oh, I can also Beseiju, because Omnath is a legend. Just going to pass without cracking this. If they are a depth deck, I have at least that going for me. This does kind of look like Loam Pox, at least some shell thereof. Barrenmore, this is definitely a Life from the Loam deck. And a Wasteland deck, confirmed. We're over the hump on that one right now. Not going to crack this land with Omnath, that doesn't matter. Wastelanding my Triome, sure. Oh, hell yeah. Now I have 2 fetch lands. I can dome my opponent. Or I can make mana and cast Force of Will on their turn. Do I want to put them to 2? And then hold up hardcast Force of Will? That actually sounds entirely reasonable. Tundra. Have a bunch of mana, fetch. And Savannah. Dome you for 4. Do I want to use my floating mana to Beseiju? Nah. Nothing to target. Okay. Holding up hardcast Force, opponent is dead to both of my creatures. Using the fetches in that way plays around a removal spell, but otherwise doesn't change the clock. I don't know if that was right, but it certainly happened. We're playing against a Wasteland deck with Life from the Loam in it, presumably, because we saw Barrenmore. Endurance helps in that way. I do want to be ahead of this deck with Crashing Rhinos early and often. We saw Dark Confidant, which is a good hit for Fire Ice. Subtlety might be me here. That might be better as Force of Negation. If they're a Loam deck, if they're a Pox deck also, just having more counterspells looks good. I don't need to go totally crazy on it. Solitude might be kind of bad, but I'll leave it in. We saw at least Dark Confidant. You probably don't have Smallpox in your Dark Confidant deck. That's a spicy creature to just kill on curve with your own deck. This hand rules. I'm in. Mox Diamond. Discarding Beseiju. Swamp. And Suspended Profane Tutor. Okay. I'm something of a suspend deck myself. There's Crashing Footfalls right where I want it. I can fetch Basic Forest. Yeah, let's do it. And I'm going to use the Windswept Teeth because I can get Basic Island with Misty. Basic Forest. Modern Horizons 2, the format. Am I right, everyone? Thoughtseize, okay. I don't like it, but I'm not willing to protect my hand with Force of Will. If this Profane Tutor is going to do something busted, they might actually take the Force of Will, but I'm not countering Profane Tutor. Or if they take Force of Will, then go land Smallpox. That's kind of a beating. Witherbloom Apprentice. That's what we're doing here. I see. I think I need to just force this. If they have the final wind spell... Okay. I am just going to force this. Because Profane Tutor gets the chain if they need that, and it gets the protection spell if they need that. And I'm just going to draw a replacement Cascade spell anyway. It's all good. Too easy. Oh, here we go. It's Profane Tutor time. Is your hand perfect? Am I dead? Dark Confidant's back. And a land. Okay. I no longer need basic island. I could just get it anyway and play around Wasteland. Might as well. Yeah, I'll get basic island. There is a mountain in the deck that I can fetch with Arid Mesa. Alright, pass the turn. They don't know what I got in store for them. Bob flipped a Baron Moor. Please just run your Dark Confidant into my double block Rhinos. Cycle the Baron Moor. 3 cards in hand. Bot sees me. Do it. Do it. Yeah! Have you ever lost 2 life just to let your opponent put a bunch of Rhinos into play? 1 can of Rhinos, please. Crashing Footfalls. Gigantic board presence. I'll let my opponent look at the 2 lands in my hand, F6, and enjoy the profits. Opponent's at 16. Kraken fetches. This is where they just engineered explosives and sweep them out. Fatal Push, okay. And Fatal Push. Okay, we're both hellbent. You have Dark Confidant, I don't. It was a good exchange for me, but still, it came out okay on it. Ooh. My other can of Rhinos comes down next turn, the natural way, and I just drew Endurance off the top. Found Wasteland, okay. Well, at least they'll see the Endurance coming now, because I'm gonna... Presumably they're gonna waste pre-combat. Yep. And I will deploy the Big Idiot. I am gonna hit them. They're definitely a loam deck. Not interested. Okay, it's go time. The can of Rhinos is ready. Hot out of the microwave, which is where Rhinos come from. And starting to attack for some damage here. Fetch land, that gives them perfect information, but I'm basically playing face up anyway. Yorion in hand. Bob trigger. Raven's Crime, yikes. If they spend this turn criming my hand, they're just going to take a gajillion. Crime does not stabilize this board unless it's backed up with a removal spell. If their hand is exactly Crime, Land, Fatal Push, that might slow me down enough that they can get back in it, but they are in trouble. Life total's 11, which is how much power I have in play. And they've simply had enough. Okay, yeah, going over the top of these fair decks with the Rhinos, just really good shit. And that showcases what this deck is about. You go over the top of grindy decks with your elementals and Omnath and stuff, and you go over the top of low to the ground decks with your Rhinos, and you just get everyone coming from both directions. Remain undefeated. Let's roll. You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7-Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7-Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7-Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7-Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. I'm on the play for round 3, and I have a turn 3 can of Rhinos with force backup. And I have the turn 2 Leyline Binding for 1. This is exactly why we register this deck. Opponent's on 6. Let's do it. What are you working with over there? Oh, we're doing this. Okay. I've done this once already this league. Somewhat successfully, I might add. There's no Bayou in this deck to go with Rockrin Triumph. Okay. I was about to say, if I fetch Rockrin instead of Indatha, it doesn't actually do anything. Alright, yeah, I'll just get Indatha. There's that. Get Steam Vents with... keep calling it Steam Vents. I could get Volcanic Island with any of these. I will choose Flooded Strand mostly at random. Basically, the only decision being made here is if I want basics and what order I'd want them in. That's not really what I'm going for here. Archon of Emeria. I'm actually just going to get the other Triome. Every time that this happens, I seem surprised by it, and that's because I'm very dumb.
I can just cast this card for 1 mana, the binding. Here we go. You get out of here. And I'll make a can of rhinos right now. I don't think I want to get a basic land. I don't think I need one in this matchup. I already have double white. Drop gives me double green. Don't need double red in the main deck. All right, Tropical Island it is. And drop a can on you. Crashing Footfalls, second card down, only revealing 1 card in my deck. Feels good when you get away with that. And now I can make real decisions about whether I want to Force of Will or cast Omnath next turn. Okay. Solitude, Pitching White Plume Adventurer. Okay, here's the thing. If they have Touch the Spirit Realm, they can clear this whole squad. If I force the Solitude, all right, I'm just going to bet on Omnath. Like, if they don't have the touch, then I don't care about the Solitude. And if they do, I'll just bet on Omnath. Because I can't counter the channeling of touch. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Omnath it is. If I had a blue card that was less impactful than Omnath, I would have been more inclined to force there. But go, blue card. Now I can protect Omnath for a turn and get Buck Wild. Doesn't matter what land I get. Brazen Borrower is pretty blue heavy. Get Volcanic Island. Red, green, blue, white. And here is Omnath, the Daddy, with Force of Will backup and enough fetch lands to deploy Yorion next turn, if I so desire. This one is worth a Force of Will. If they're plowing it, it means they don't have Karakas. Well, Karakas isn't even a good answer to Omnath, especially now that I have a land drop. They said Cleric with Cavern. This could be the White Plume Adventurer. They pitched 1 to Solitude last turn, and indeed it is. I'm interested in a removal spell. Down to 2 cards, one of them's Plains. On spells. Something that does something would be great. That does do something. Hard to argue with it. Oh, it makes Omnath beat both these creatures, or at least trade with both of these creatures, because I have double Exalted. And I end up with 5/9 mana. It's not enough to cast Yorion. It's enough to get it in my hand. Well, definitely doing the fetch stuff before combat. Fetch. I'll get a Savannah here. A pile of mana, cast Ardent Plea with it. Get a can of Rhinos. Get the Trample Boys. And now Omnath has double Exalted. Put Yorion in my hand. And let's get it here. 6/6 coming in. Is it worth both your creatures to keep the initiative? They've determined that it is. Fair enough. Those creatures are gone, so is Omnath. I have 2 Tramplers versus their hand of Plains, Mystery card, and the best of their top 3 cards. They get to go into the Lost Well. Bottomed. Love to see it. There's the Plains, and they appear to be passing the turn. That's good news for me. Another Omnath? Oh, Subtlety. That's good too, though. I guess I should have held that land drop. I'm about to tutor, and that could have get some information if I play a basic instead. Again, just fine. Need to get in with something. And the initiative is mine. And I'm holding up Subtlety. I almost called it Subtitude. And Subtitude would be a good card. Good to do both. I'll grab this basic island for next turn. And I'm not going to play Yorion, which is going to give away some information, but I don't care. I have Subtlety up against the deck that relies on resolving creatures. We did it! Okay, game 2. This is the tough one. Last time I brought in the Furies. I cut 1 Endurance. I still like that. I can go a little... well, the Rhinos are so good. I think I may have adjusted my opinion about the Rhinos since the last time. And I was hedging against Chalice. I wasn't boarding out the Rhino stuff because it was bad. I was hedging against Chalice and Thalia. And Archon of Emeria. Okay, I talked myself back into it. And I gotta lose 1 more here. Probably just another Endurance. Fire Ice is medium. Endurance might be better than Fire Ice. I think I had this exact same conversation with myself 2 rounds ago and came to a similar conclusion. Go. Force but no blue card. Violent Outburst but no red land. Fury is good. I'm going to keep this. This is so close on every direction. Just a blue card or a red land. Either one makes this hand something I want to be doing. And they let on Archon instead of Initiative Creature. I'm happy with that. If I draw the blue card right now, I'm going to be having a good time. Okay. Not a blue card, but it's not bad. I could save Fury, but Solitude's better than Fury. Flash is just way better than Double Strike in the matchup. Alice on 0, disappointing. Okay. Well, they seem to be out of gas for now. Okay, there's my red mana. We're getting there. I may Brazen Borrower or other removal spell on Chalice away from going to Rhino Town. Next turn, I can put Yorion in my hand if they don't advance their board right now. And they would have slammed if they had it last turn. I just don't think they have what they want here. I'm going to fetch for Rockran Triome. That one in. Red mana's unlocked. Fetch land. I'll save that and just put Yorion in my hand. Now I have blue card up. Approaching the 4 mana threshold where Omnath becomes a card I can play. Right on time. Force of Will, this jerk, pitching my Yorion. Okay, now I need something worth casting or an answer to Chalice of the Void. I think I'm going to ice their Chrome Mox in the main, in their upkeep. Chalice doesn't have a if it's tapped text, does it? Nope. Too new of a card for that. Ice the Chrome Mox, which has been their only white source for quite some time. That's land number 5 to cast Solitude with. Starting to develop a game plan here. Gonna fetch Indoth the Triome. I'm gonna save that fetch in case I draw Omnath, but that doesn't matter. I can cast Omnath with what I have, then make the same land drop. Uh-oh. I have what I need here to Brazen Borrow and Violent Outburst all at the same time. I kind of hope they did draw White Plume Adventurer now. Nope, no such luck. End step. Petty Theft the Chalice. And engage in some violence. Rhino Town. Yeah! Undefeated against the initiative. Identified as the hardest matchup. Just pop a couple subtleties in there and you're good to go. We remain undefeated.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I'm on the play for round 4 with a bunch of cheap board interaction. I need a 3rd land to get my can of Rhinos, but I'm in. Nothing to pitch to Endurance currently. Hope they're not a busted graveyard deck. Been doing pretty good on die rolls this league too. Both of these lands get both the Triome and the Bulk. Doesn't matter how I sequence them. Give me initiative again. I'm getting comfortable in that pocket. Keep sending it in. Arrakis, huh? It's not initiative. I'm actually going to chill on cracking my fetch land because... Okay. Yeah, Leyline Binding costs 2 with a variety of combinations of dual lands, and 2 is what I have. I don't need to fetch a Triome. I think I'm going to go for Ice on the Caracas in the upkeep. I want Savannah Volcanic here. Yeah, that's the 2 colors I need for Ardent Plea. It casts Ice. It spreads out my domain as much as possible. If this is Death and Taxes, this slows down Thalia for a turn. If it's initiative, it might stop whatever they were planning to do on turn 2. It's not Death and Taxes, though. I don't think I can beat that deck with Thalias and Wastelands. Give me a break. If my opponent plays Modern at all, they already know what's going on here. Once Upon a Time. Okay, it is initiative again. Death and Taxes doesn't play this card. Alright, deck. It's time to give me the land. Oh, Scrubland. White-black initiative. Mox Diamond. Yeah, this does look like a 2-color initiative deck. Discarding City of Traders. Okay. Bummer. They're going to get the initiative anyway. Oh, it's so much worse. Oh, that's not worse. I can just remove this. Gives me another turn to develop my lands, actually. I'll take it. I'm not going to pitch Solitude hoping to spike the land. Thanks. Okay. Land unspiked anyway. I guess I will simply pass the turn. And cards in hand. Multiple spells I can cast. Off you go. There's a cavern. Aiming elemental. I should expect Solitude, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna bind this in a ley line. They want to use Touch the Spirit Realm to flicker this and save it. Not even mad about that. Okay, they did do that. It's cool with me. That means Leyline Binding is sitting there. I get to take their mana source instead, and at some point, flickering that with Yorion will be something worth considering. All right, deck. How about that land? Hate you so much. Hate you, deck. Okay. Spend Crashing Footfalls. Now the jig is up. They definitely know what I'm doing. Telegraph that they have Solitude in hand with this Cavern on Elemental. Here's the scrub land finally revealed. I'm going to take 2 before I fire off Solitude. I don't know if I care about this more than the next creature they play. On deck. Crashing Footfalls starts the slow tick down. All right, here we go. I think it's time to Solitude. Solitude pitching Solitude. Have to get rid of this Archon before anything else happens. Land Ardent Plea. Here comes the can. They have 3 cards in their hand that they haven't done anything with. We've read 1 as Solitude already. Let's see what shakes loose here. Oh my god, what? They had a Solitude. One of my Rhinos is answered. Unfortunately, drawing Tundra instead of a fetch land. I don't have this Wall of Endurances ready to tangle with their 3 power creatures. I need another land before that's the play. A second touch. Okay. Would have been a lot more impressive before they were at 5 mana for Solitude. Oh, sick. Well. Oh, it's so unfortunate that I didn't draw a spell I could cast. Bummer. I guess I'll just pass the turn. Here come the beats, and here comes the surprise can. And Andy Warhol up in this bitch. Yeah! Too many cans. Well, we've seen this before. Fury. Crash. Lee. Fire Ice. Endurance. I am pretty happy with that board plan, and in we go. Interesting that all 3 of my initiative opponents in this league have had Archon of Emeria. There was a while where folks were pretty split on how to build these decks, and seen a lot of consistency in that card. Okay. Force but no blue card. That hurts. I have the turn 2 interaction, the turn 3 can. Alright, I'm going to keep. Opponent's on 5 over there, chasing demons. Baracus go. Alright, give me a blue card. Oh. It was not the blue card I wanted. It is another binding that helps me get to where I'm trying to get. Archon of Emeria. Okay. I'll fetch my Triome. The Indatha. I can still Leyline Bind this turn. Oh, no, I can't. That's right. Oh, I needed to play the... Nope, there was no play there. Yeah, because it comes into play tapped. Bummer. Yeah, Indatha... I drew the basic forest. Okay. Alright. Instead of being excited about this game, I'm now unexcited. Thought we were cooking. Forgot about the tap. Couldn't play around it, though. Draw for turn. I could fetch basic forest. Or basic mountain. Play basic forest. Oh, I can't outburst with the Archon in play anyway. I guess I'm just playing a dual land. Playing a duel. I can exile one of these with binding now. Or, in combat. Let's see if they forge. They're Lost Dwelling. That's smart. Responsible. Okay. The Dungeoneer does target. I'm going to fetch my Volcanic Island now. And in response to this target, I'm going to bind the Dungeoneer. Which is dangerous because if they remove binding, they get an initiative trigger. I can bind the Archon and outburst next turn. Blue card. This Force of Will just rotting over here. They get to go into the stash. A little treasure as a treat. I'm going to take 2 from Archon and just see what happens after that. It's turn 5. They haven't missed any land drops, so I don't actually have any information about their hand, except that it doesn't have another creature in it. Leyline Binding. Bind the Archon, and then open a can of Rhinos. I would feel untouchable with a blue card in my hand, but instead, oh wow, they just have nothing. 3-0 against the initiative. What were you worried about? On to the final round. We got a trophy match coming.
For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out.
I've won the final die roll, and I have Force Blue card and a lot of Rhinos. I'm going to keep. Was that 5 die rolls? Did I lose the first die roll? I know I've won the last 4 in a row. I hope I lost the first one, so I get to keep complaining about my luck. I am going to fetch Basic Forest and suspend Crashing Footfalls. I don't know what this matchup is yet, but because I have Shardless Agent, fetching the forest here just lines up with the rest of the plan. All good. Play on basics until the 3rd land shows up. Forest, Rhinos on suspend. They're over there somewhere. Opponent appears to be just F6ing aggressively. Is it initiative 4 out of 5? Nope, not initiative. Is it that Dark Confidant deck again? If Verdant Catacombs Badlands is actually kind of concerning. Faithless Looting. We countered those where I come from. That's an enabler. I would counter Entomb in this spot, so I'm going to counter this too. Take down the Rhinos. Reason Bar. All right, I'm going to ice their land in the upkeep. This was always the plan, and it continues to be. Ice. Very interested in a Force of Will or a Endurance. Rewarded with neither. Didn't find the land either. Okay, come on, deck. Let's cash this thing out. We've come this far. Let's do it together. Uh-oh. Well, okay. At least that other set of Rhinos is ticking down. Brazen Borrower could be good for something, could buy me some time. If it's Grizzlebrand, it won't matter. Hope they just flashback looting here. Something largely medium. Unmask targeting yourself. Okay. Pitching Exhume. Alright, it is Grizzlebrand. Bummer. Okay. Oh, if they go for Animate Dead, I actually buy a turn. Because Animate Dead comes in, and then I can bounce it before Grizzlebrand arrives. Let's just get that out. I mean, it's back in their hand. They can still reanimate here, but it's going to cost life to do it. That's fewer cards they get to draw. Well, that was almost so good. They had to have the friggin' reanimate too. All right, well, they can go to 2 if they want against the deck that they've seen Fire Ice. Or they can just pass the turn and let me Brazen Borrow them. The Rhinos are actually 1 turn away from being relevant. Oh, okay. What does this do? I can Solitude the Grizzlebrand. If I put Yorion in my hand, I can Solitude Grizzlebrand. But they'll be at 9 life. We know they're holding Animate Dead. I can't let this thing hit me. Basically, the choice is, do I want to Brazen Borrow it or Solitude it? I think I want to borrow it. And now they see the red, so I mean, they're not going to play around that. If I target Grizzlebrand with Brazen Borrower, they're going to draw 7. Which is what's about to happen. And I know you've got Animate Dead. Let's figure out what you can make happen with your 2 life points and 3 mana. At the very least, they can go to discard and have Grizzlebrand next turn, but they can't reanimate anymore. Doom works. Yeah, that Grizzlebrand in their hand, the reanimate to follow up is everything. If the first one was Archon and not Grizzlebrand, I think we're in good shape, but obviously it's not. Doom. Oh no, I can't get Solitude into my graveyard in response. If this was a white card, this would be such a blowout. But it's not. Okay. Disappointing. I'm going to discard the Shardless Agent. Still holding on to that Yorion Solitude play. They're dumping out Lotus Petals, though. I have concerns. They have at least Faithless Looting in the graveyard. Yeah, they can Dark Ritual, Faithless Looting, Animate Dead with the cards that I know about. And they have Entomb that I didn't know about, which is even better. Should I just concede? Probably. Yeah, I can't win this now. It was close. Just narrow business there in a variety of directions, but Force of Negation comes in. Endurance stays in. Touch the Spirit Realm is good. I do like almost everything in this deck. Subtlety is actually pretty bad. They don't cast any creatures or planeswalkers. Not how those come into play. And Ardent Plea is white and blue, which are relevant pitch colors. Or at least Agents blue and green, relevant pitch colors. Probably Fire Ice. So Icing Grizzlebrand isn't bad. But that's not really how I think I'm going to win this game. Okay, Fire Ice out. Should I cut the other Fire Ice for a Teferi? Probably not. That doesn't seem to matter. Teferi pitches better to Solitude than Fire Ice does. But Fire Ice could be relevant in a combat situation. Yeah, I'm just going to leave in Fire Ice. Let's go. We got to beat Reanimator for the trophy and boss. Oof. Endurance, but no green card. No, they got them all getting this. Oh, this is worse. Oh, opponent kept 7. We've already lost. I'll go to 5, though. Okay, finally found Force Blue card. I'll keep this. And send... definitely Leyline Binding. And I guess it's Fire Ice. Or maybe it's Brazen Bar, because Fire Ice can cantrip if it needs to. Keeping Force Blue card, Endurance Green card is interesting, though. Alright. Yeah, I think Fire Ice is a better low resource take than Brazen Bar. Tough mulligan in the trophy round, though. They got moves to make over there. Faithless Looting. With the Endurance, I'm more willing to let this resolve. Make them commit something to the situation. Started Dark Ritual and Swamp. Okay. Their hand is weird. Uh-oh. Alright, well, plan on one land for a little while here. They know my hand's full of interaction now. I've kept a one-lander. And now I can pitch Brazen Borrower and still have Fire Ice to try to cantrip my way out of this. We're just going to get Show and Telled. Doom resolves. Yeah, with the Endurance, I get a lot of breathing room here. Archon in the graveyard. Reanimate. I'm going to Endurance. They could reanimate my Endurance, but Exhume is worse now. Right, deck, how about that land we need? Okay, we're getting there. Definitely playing Beseiju. And is this a turn where I ice? I think it is. Is it Volcanic Island? Volcanic Island gives me Outburst or Shardless Agent. I think it's Volcanic Island. And I'd love to get a Triome here, but I have to push my velocity however I can. Ice the Badlands. If the top 2 cards in my deck are land Cascade spell, I think we're actually doing okay. It was not. It was Leyline Binding, a card I can't cast. I'm okay with Show and Tell here. Alright, Thoughtseize is going to resolve. They showed blue mana. They probably do have the Show and Tell pivot in their deck. But Leyline and Force both beat that. Or both at least play into that a little bit. Took my Force. Come on, land. Preferably a white one. Yeah, okay. Leyline Binding is now active, and I can just jam Brazen Borrower and start smashing. Opponent's down to 2 cards in hand, plus the one they're about to draw. Well, they saw my hand, and they're still casting the Show and Tell. I gotta assume this is Grizzlebrand, and they're gonna just draw a bunch in response. So it's Archon, who I will exile. This is interesting. I guess I might as well Brazen Borrow their Lotus Petal, because I have to discard this card anyway. And I might as well take their Lotus Petal with me. Oh wow, they let that resolve. So Brazen Borrower is safely in exile, where it does not get discarded. They could have floated mana to fizzle that, and they didn't. I'm going to fetch the Indathe here. That gets all my colors where they need to be. Oh wait, no. I'm actually just fetching Tundra. Probably shouldn't have fetched there, because I need blue to play this Brazen Borrower that I just put on layaway. Wait, why didn't I get the Rockran Triumph? That's a Tundra plus. I'm not a smart person. Drawing Force of Will. I'm going to put Yorion in my hand, though. Against this combo deck, they just did all that work to get me Hellbent. Let's survive the next wave. Okay, this is a tough one. Normally, I would say counter this, but they have the mana to immediately flash it back. And on low resources, it's a lot worse than when they have 6 or 7 cards in hand. This is just tapping Bazaar of Baghdad. They have fewer cards in their hand than they started. That's why they let the Lotus Petal resolve, though. Because they wanted to cash that in. The Lotus Petal bounce. Here's a Plateau, and I'm going to pass the turn. If they have Artifact and Enchantment Destruction in their deck, which they might have anyway because of Leyline possibility, then I'm not really safe here. I'm not countering this looting. I'm a land drop away from Hardcast Force, and I get to keep my Yorion. There's a lot to like there. I discarded Grief. Reanimating Grief is interesting. That is, they do get to poke my hand, but my hand has 2 good cards in it. Yeah, I'm not going to give them my 2 good cards in my hand in exchange for Grief when I'm winning the damage race. They get one of these regardless. Or they could get both. I'm not in the both business. End of turn. Cast Brazen Borrower. Omnath is a pretty cool draw here. I'd like to see that. Land for Yorion gets me on board. There's not many bad draws in the deck. That one, I mean, I get to cast Yorion. Not pretty, but it's happening. Float green, play Boseiju. It was easily one of the worst draws in the deck, but it does put my Yorion into play. A flicker Brazen Borrower. Untapped is better than tapped most of the time. And we're just F6. Garfield, take the wheel. I cannot block because Brazen Borrower doesn't know how to do that, and this creature has Menace. And they've passed the turn. Come on, good cards. Well, back for 7. Put you to dead on board. And I'm going to sandbag my land. Not that they can play around it. Maybe I should have played it in case they kill Leyline Binding, then I don't have to discard it. Oh, Reanimate's completely off at this point. Unmask yourself. No, don't do this. Archon of Cruelty, animate dead, stop! Imagine if we had drawn Savannah and then Boseiju, instead of Boseiju then Savannah. We win this game, but instead we're going to lose it. And I should have played this land in case they Archon me. Yeah, it was literally just drew these lands in the wrong order. Bummer. Because I could have killed the Animate Dead with Boseiju in response to its trigger. I guess I could have not played Yorion and just sandbagged the Boseiju in case they go for an Animate Dead at any point. This is where I draw Solitude, but I didn't play my land, so I lose. Okay, and we are dead. That came down to just a sad little bit of variance there, but a 4-1 with this deck, defeating 3 times the deck that the deck's brewer was worried about. Subtlety came up strong. Against the initiative, it really is just buying the breathing room to get some rhinos in, because it costs them a lot. They have the touches, they have the solitudes, they have the plows. They can clear it, but it's going to be a 2 or 3 for 1 every time. And if you're at the phase of the game where they're hardcasting Solitude to recoup some of those cards that it costs them to answer the rhinos, then you've probably reached a level of stability you're okay with, because you can beat a Solitude deck. You can't beat a turn 1 or 2 initiative, or you can't beat someone who protects the initiative. You can take it on turn 1 or 2 eventually. This was fun though. 4-1, had an exciting trophy match. The deck really delivered. I felt like we were hoping to draw a land pretty often, but that happens in decks that are not able to play cantrips. I did cut a Fire Ice, which is a 2-mana cantrip, to make room for the Subtlety. I think the Subtlety did more than Ice would have over the course of the league, but there's probably some finagling to be done there. I also wonder if we want Uro in this deck. Uro plus Omnath is pretty fucked up. Uro doesn't affect the Cascade stuff at all. Uro's another plan all on its own. Maybe like the 2 touch the Spirit Realm and 1 of the Endurance go, and we just get 3 Uros. Move Endurance to the sideboard. Don't worry about the touches, and let's rip. I would be exploring Uro if this was my deck, but you all know me. I'm somewhat biased in that direction. And those are the thoughts I have about that. Vlandrick, thank you for your Rhinos brew. It was an absolute delight. I hope I helped fix that initiative matchup for you. Just a little subtlety goes a long way. Everybody, I appreciate you watching. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon link in the video description, and I'll see you next time.